I really want to welcome all of you to today's session on data science orientation. This session will go on for 1 hour in duration. So we're going to close this session at 10:11:30 IST. My name is Kapil Nakra and I'm one of the co-founders of Digital Vidya. Thanks everyone for taking time out and attending today's session. So in next 1 hour, what we're going to do is to start with, we'll cover some of the basics of what data science, data analytics is all about. Then we'll look into some interesting examples and case studies of how data science techniques are being used in the industry and what kind of implementations are currently going on so that you're well versed with what is currently happening in the industry as such. I'm assuming all of you are here because you want to build career in the data science space. So it's very, very critical, important that you should be aware of the entire technology landscape in terms of what all is there in the data science space to start with, and that would help you to decide what kind of specialization would be most relevant for you. So we'll have a long discussion on the technology landscape in the data space particularly. And then I'll also talk about some of the training programs that Digital Vidya has to offer in this area. Those of you who would like to register in any of our upcoming batches, I'll give you an opportunity to do that as well. And we'll keep some time for the open Q&A. I'll be here till all your questions are addressed. Right now, there are 11 of us in the session. So since there are less number of participants, let's take that as an opportunity. Anytime during the session, if you have any question, just type it down in the question panel. I'm simultaneously looking into the question panel window also, and I'll make sure that I'll take all those questions at the relevant time during the session. So that's how next 1 hour is going to go. Uh, let's start with the basics. But before I do that, I just wanted to have a quick check in terms of what is your existing level of understanding of data science. I've just launched this poll on your screen. Pick up an option that best describes where you self-rate yourself in terms of your understanding in data. So if you think you're at a nil level, you can mention nil. If you're below average or average, you can mention accordingly the relevant option for you. Another 5 seconds. Everybody should respond to this. 1, 2. Those of you who've joined in a little late, don't worry, you haven't missed anything. We've just started. Just participate in this poll and then we'll move to the next stage. I think still there are a couple of users who have not responded to this. So can everybody please respond to this? I'll be closing this poll in another 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So here we go. Great. So here are the results. I would say a good percentage of you are at a below average and a nil level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend a lot of time on the basics to make sure that everybody at the same page before we can start some advanced level of conversation. And some of you are actually at above average and good level also. And I think a couple of you are at an average level also. So those of you who are an above average or a good level, you have to bear with me for initial some time before we can make sure that we've covered the basics, and then we'll cover some interesting advanced level case studies as well. Great. So I hope that gives you an idea where you stand in the group today. So let's start with the basics of what data science, data analytics is all about. And I don't want to give you a definition of what data science is or data analytics is. I think all of you are well versed with it, or you can actually directly go and read it out on Wikipedia. But what we will do is to make it a little interesting, we'll actually solve a real problem the way the data professionals do. And in the process of doing that, we'll distinguish how do data scientists and data analysts work in the day-to-day life. The problem that I picked up is something that very small, something that we can come up with some conclusion within 5 to 10 minutes, and something for which no programming knowledge is also needed, and something that all of you can relate to as well, right? So let's just start with that problem. So the way we would proceed is I'll present you a business case as a business owner, and then I'll come over to your side, and together as data professionals, we'll try to solve it. Here is a simple business case for you. The business case is, all of you are coming are here in this webinar right now. There are 14 of you who are currently present in the webinar, right? Now, what we do is to invite people in this webinar, we run ads on Facebook, on Google. And a lot of you might have seen those ads. That's the reason you are here. Now, to to invite people to run those ads, we can target audience based on various parameters. We can target audience based on gender, like we can only target male or only female. We can target people living in a particular location. We can target people based on their experience in the data analytics space, in the programming space, or the overall years of experience people have. These are the various targeting options that are available to us. You have to help me decide which of these targeting options are relevant for us. Simple business case, right? So now let me come over to your side and let's try to solve this business problem, right? So whenever a business problem comes in front of data professionals, the first thing they do is they think, where can they get some data which can give them some insights into this particular business case? So if I have to think aloud, what I can do is I can look at the performance of the past ads, how the ads have been performing so far. Or another thing we can do is we can actually look at the profile of people who are currently present in the webinar and try to see what is a correlation between the people who are coming in the webinar and the targeting option that are being used in the ads, right? Is there a correlation between the two or not, right? That will give us some interesting enough insights into this particular business case. So let's try to do that. As a next step, what we'll do is we'll gather data. Data collection is one of the major step in solving any data problem. So what I'll be sharing with you is I'll be sharing the link of this form. Once you click on this link, a form will open up in your browser. This particular form will come up. You do not need to provide in your real name. Any dummy name will do, but rest of the information has to be accurate in terms of the years of experience you have, gender, where you're located in India, what is your existing level of understanding of data analytics, what is your likelihood to enroll for data analytics training course, and which industry you belong to, whether you're a programmer or not, right? And once you fill up this form, all the data will be there in the Google spreadsheet in front of us, and then we'll use all the data to do our analysis. So let's quickly do that. We'll do it in next 20-25 seconds. Here is a link. I've just shared it with all of you. If any one of you have not received this link, you can let me know in the question panel. Everybody should click on this link. More data points we have, the better would be the analysis. And let's have 20 seconds to complete it. There is anybody who's not been able to see this link properly, you can just let me know in the question panel. I think some of you joined in a little late. So those of you joined a little late, don't worry, you haven't missed much. Just click on this link, fill up this form, and then we'll move to the next stage. Supriya, you're saying link location. Here is the link for you. Kasturba, here is the link. I hope you have got it now. If you haven't got it earlier, Supriya and Kasturba, click on that link and fill it up now. Great. So I'm assuming all of you are doing it right now. Let's do it quickly as soon as possible. Let's see who will be the first one to fill it up. Karan, you're also saying link not found. Here is the link. I just responded to your question with the link. Kasturba, Karan, and Supriya. Anybody else facing problem with the link, let me know. So we've got the first data point by Simran from South India and the 2 years of experience. Got it. Let's see. Let's get as many data points as we can. Neha, you're also saying link not found. That's surprising. A lot of you are saying the same thing. So here's the link, and I can't copy it in the clipboard. So you can actually just click on it and it will open it in the browser. If that's not happening, Prachi, you're also saying the same thing, link not accessible. Great, so I can just copy this link and open it in any browser and you should be able to access it. It's a simple Google form. So we have got now input from Karan Rana also. Supriya, try to do it once again. If it works, then it's fine. Otherwise, we'll go ahead with the whatever data points we've corrected. Seems a lot of you are not able to access it. Okay, Pranchi, glad to know that you made it work at your end. So we have got 3 data points. I would count till 10. Those of you are doing it, please complete it fast. As I said earlier, more data points we have, the better would be the analysis. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those of you who are filling it up or who's able to access it, please do that fast. 9. That's okay, Kasturba, leave it for now. Okay, great. So let's go ahead with this. So we have got 4 data points right now. In fact, 5 now. Nirbhay has also filled it. Great. So 2 female, 3 males, right? Now, what I've done is we asked you to fill the Google spreadsheet, and the data is front of us in the form of in Google spreadsheet. Typically, the most basic tool that data professionals use is Excel, right? But since we have to do a very, very basic analysis, we'll actually do it in Google spreadsheet only. Kasturba, glad to know that you're also managed to fill it up. Great. So what I really want to find out is, I want to find out what is a correlation between column F, which is likelihood to take up data analytics course, with all other columns. That is what I'm interested in, to find out which of these targeting options are relevant. Now, those of you, if you've forgotten your statistics classes, correlation between two entities, its value varies from -1 to 1. If it is -1, that means they are negatively correlated. When one entity goes up, other entity goes down. And if it is 1, that means they're strongly correlated. When one entity goes up, other entity also goes up. And if it is close to 0, that means two entities are absolutely not related to each other. And I want to find out correlation between column F with all other columns. But the problem is, to find out correlations, I need all the data in number format. I can't use that formula on textual data. So the next thing I would do is, I'll do data manipulation, right? So I would, label all the female as 2, and I will label all the male as 1. So we got 3 male data, 3 female data. Okay. All the people from North India as 1. Okay. East would have been 2. Nobody's from East. West, let's keep it as 3. North has 1, and South has 4. South India has 4. Right. So we've got 2 from South India, 2 from North India, and 2 from West. Interesting. I would not be using name and industry today. I will label all the programmers as 1. So 4 of you are programmer of 6 data sets that we have collected, and 2 non-programmers, right? So now all the data is in the number format, but we have got just 6 data points, right? But 6 is not sufficient. So I'll also be using the data that we have actually gathered in some of the past webinars. So in total, if you really look at it, it's 984 rows in total, right? So that's a, good enough significant size of data that we have available. This will give us some really meaningful insights, right? So now to find out the correlation, I will be using this function called Coral. Coral is a function that is already available in Google spreadsheet. I have to provide in 2 data sets. So the first data set that I'm providing is, okay, column F, the complete column F, which is F 985. Great. So I've just taken all the data, and let's take the second data set as same as column F, right? So both entities are same in this formula. Both entities are same. What will be the value of correlation? Anybody can take a guess. The value of correlation will be 1, right? Because it's the same entity and it has to be absolutely correlated since the entities are same. So let's see now, what is the correlation between likelihood to take up data analytics training program and years of professional experience people have. The value is 0.15. What it means is it's positive. So people who have some years of experience are little more likely. But if you really look at it, the number is not strongly positive. The number is not like 0.8 or 0.9. Had that been the case, I would have said that, only experienced folks are interested. Professionals, the freshers are not interested in this domain. So let's ignore freshers. But yeah, I mean, what it says is that people who have some years of experience are little more likely. Let's say, are male more likely or female more likely? That will be interesting, right? It's 0.02. But you remember we labeled female as 2, male as 1. So females are just little more likely than male, but number is actually close to 0. It's insignificant. It's 0.02. So male and female are equally likely to learn data analytics. That's interesting. Let's see, as location has anything to do with it. Again, it's even closer to 0, 0.007. So what it means is, wherever you're located in India, it doesn't matter. You're equally likely to learn data analytics, and it's negative. So I can say that people who are in the north are more likely than people down south. That's interesting. And but just if the number is so small, so insignificant, that doesn't matter. Again, the level of understanding of data analytics 0.11. So people who have some understanding of data analytics are a little more likely. That's also interesting, but the number is not strongly positive. So that's again something that we can't take it for sure. Let's see whether programmers are more likely or non-programmers are more likely. That will be interesting, right? Again, the number is close to 0, 0.01, and that to negative. So non-programmers are just little more likely. Remember, we labeled programmer as we label actually programmer as 2. So programmer are little more likely, I would say, but the number is close to 0, so it doesn't matter. So if I have to pass on this particular insights to the marketing team, what I can say is I would tell them, do not target based on programming experience, and do not target based on the location and gender. This is like complete no, right? And they can give some value, some importance to people who have some understanding of data analytics and some years of experience with them. Some importance can be given to them, not like a significant one, but some importance. So if you really look at it, what we have done is we've followed a process, used a technique called correlation, and come up with meaningful insights using data. That is actually what data analytics, to some extent data science, I'll talk about data science in a lot more depth very shortly, is all about. So if I have to actually cover any data analytics or problem life cycle, it all starts with looking into existing business operations. If there are some new initiative that needs to be taken, some inefficiencies that are there, or and these problems are usually given by the people who are business owners, P&L owners, general managers, product heads, project managers, and they would have no idea about how to work on data, but they will give you some business problem like the way I gave you today, and then that problem will come to you, right? And for you, the first step would be the data collection. That takes a lot of time. So it includes gathering all the data cleansing, right? Data manipulation, make sure that data is in the right shape. And once the data is in the right shape, then you would use some kind of statistical model or create some new models to do your analysis. And once you do that analysis, you will come up with some insights, right? At times, insights are very straightforward. Like in our case, the insights are fairly straightforward. I can just write an email and communicate it back to the marketing team. But in some of the cases, insights may be a little complex. You might need to create various graphs. For that, you need some data visualization tools, right? To make sure that insights are actually communicated properly. Tools like Power BI, QuickView, or data visualization libraries available with R, Python, data visualization functions available in SAS. So you would use all of them to sort of communicate your insights back to the people who have given you the problem. They will take some action, get some value, time to look for next problem in the business operation. So this is a typical life cycle of any data analytics problem, right? Now, if I have to cover the entire landscape of data problems, right? The problem that we've talked about are just one kind of problem that I've talked about, right? But is that all that is there in the data space? Probably not. I can broadly classify all data problems into two categories. One set of problems are more statistical in nature. You have to use statistical model and do some analysis, right? Whether it is prescriptive analysis, some descriptive analysis, whatever you need to do. It means that you have to use some statistical model and come up with some analysis or report at the end of it. To be on this side, you can use tools like Excel, SAS, which does not require any programming language knowledge also. Or you can use programming languages like R, Python to do your detailed analysis, right? But there are a lot of people who are being on this side of the data without any programming language, and they do not intend to learn any programming language also. But then there's another set of problems where data professionals are getting involved. So let me just quickly explain it to you, those of you a little early in the data space, to understand what this whole space is all about, and then possibly you'll understand why is this that data professionals are getting involved in this. This whole set of problems can be categorized in the category of artificial intelligence. Now, artificial intelligence is simply about trying to create a program that emulates human intelligence or that does a work which is normally done by human. Like if you can create a program that can play chess with you, that's artificial intelligence. If you can create a program that can do a work which is typically done by an accountant, that's artificial intelligence. Now, we have been creating these programs from decades. Why is it that data professionals are getting involved? The data professionals are getting involved because now you can train those programs to give you more accurate and efficient results using data that you have collected out of the every time in the past you've run the same program. So because you can train those programs, and that's where machine learning comes in. And since data is needed to train the program, that is the reason data professionals are jumping onto this. So machine learning is all about using existing data to train the program so that they can give you more accurate, efficient, fast, and results at the end of it. Now this kind of, it has actually, the whole world has moved to the next level. You can also integrate the deep learning libraries within your existing programs also. What is deep learning all about? I'll just give you a very broad level definition before I actually share some interesting examples with all of you. Deep learning fundamentally means trying to create a program that behaves exactly like human mind behaves. Mostly when we talk about deep learning, we talk about something known as artificial neural networks, right? To put it in a very simple terms, you give any data to a deep learning program, it will automatically try to identify patterns from it and take learning from that. What it does, because of that, what happens is that it increases the level of accuracy to a completely next level, right? So that's where deep learning is used. But so where are data professionals used? They're working in the statistical side, they're working on machine learning and deep learning side. That's where data professionals are really getting involved. But to be on this side, you need to learn programming language. You can't work on artificial intelligence related problems without a reasonable knowledge of programming language, right? And I'll talk about that more in detail once I'll talk about the technology landscape. Let me quickly share just one example with you to make this whole thing a little more real for you. This is regarding the data science problem. So I'm just showcasing a project called Teachable by Google. Teachable has implemented multiple projects, and I'll pick up just one of them. I'll pick up the image project. Let's start with the image project. What I need to do is I need to give it a various set of data, and then we'll create a model, a trained model, and then let's see how the trained model will behave, right? So I'm labeling the first class as me, right? And I'll use a webcam to give some input, and I'll be, giving images, my personal images. Okay, fine, let's take all of them. And I'll label the second class as me plus phone, right? And again, this time I'll use webcam, but this time what I'll do is, along with my image, I will also give image of me with phone, right? So now there are the two data sets that are available. Now let's train the model. So if you're working, if you're somebody who's the one who has actually created this, you would have created these training models if you're working on a machine learning. So right now the training is happening. I've given all the samples and the training model will be created soon. Great. So here is the result. So if you look at the output right now in the image, it says 100% me. Let's see what happens once I bring in phone. Yes, it's me and phone now. It's me and me and phone. So what we've done is we've actually created a model in which can detect whether I am with my phone or without my phone, right? So this is actually nothing but machine learning. Let me just now make it a little more real for you, and I'll talk about some of the examples that in a way you may be already using a lot of these things, but you may be using it unconsciously. You may not be aware that there are some data scientist techniques which is being used at the back end to make sure those features are actually available for you. So let's start with, for example, Google search, right? Once we use Google search, and it gives you the list of suggestion in the suggestion box, right? So where are these suggestions actually coming from? There's nothing but there's a machine learning algorithm which is working in the back end, which is being trained using all the searches that has happened on Google so far. And that's the reason, most of the time we are amazed, how do Google really know that I was planning to type that, right? And if you think about it, the accuracy of these suggestions is improved a lot. Like if we would have used it a year back to what we are using right now, the efficiency, the accuracy has improved a lot. That's because all the data that has been generated in last 1 year is used to train this algorithm further, right? And the results are pretty accurate and efficient. It gives you quickly the results as well, right? If you use Google Maps, it gives you estimate in terms of the time it will take to go from place A to place B. If you would have noticed, the accuracy of this time estimation has also improved a lot. Most of the time we actually end up reaching exactly at the same time, right? That's again a machine learning algorithm working in the back end. All of us go to various e-commerce marketplaces, and particularly I'm talking about marketplaces. So one of the major challenge with the marketplace is that they have millions of products, but they cannot showcase more than 20 to 25 products on one screen, right? And that too on the extreme side, right? Which product they would showcase decides close to 30% of the revenue of these marketplaces. So now how do they really figure out which product to showcase on which screen? What they do is each e-commerce marketplaces have implemented something known as a recommendation engine at the back end. And the recommendation engine creates these lists like related to item you viewed, inspired by your shopping trends, or inspired by your browsing history, by your past purchases. So again, if you that's one of the major use case in e-commerce space. Um, Even some of the regular works, for example, filtering out the spam, right? So traditionally it was done using some rule-based programming, but now even Google is doing it using machine learning algorithm. That is the reason it has been said that in case of Gmail, the efficiency of filtering out spam has increased to 99.9%. Most of us haven't checked our spam folder for months. Personally, I haven't done it because I'm 100% sure none of my important mail has gone over there, right? Unless there is a specific need, we don't even go there. Again, here, this was a work which was traditionally done by the rule-based programming, and now it has been shifted to machine learning. Even the email categorization into primary, social, promotion, that also happens through machine learning algorithm. And that's the reason these categorization has also improved a lot over years. Uh, Facebook has a feature called photo tagging. So if you upload a photograph, Facebook will automatically suggest which of your friend whom you can tag is actually there in that photograph. How is Facebook doing that? Because there's a machine learning algorithm which is being trained using all the photographs which are tagged in the past so far on Facebook, right? And there are many more examples. Now let me cover some from the industry in terms of the implementation work that is happening or the recent work that is completed, right? So for example, and I've picked up various industries to make sure that you get a holistic idea in terms of what's happening in the industry, which is very important and relevant for you at this stage. So if I look at the car rental space, definitely the leading company from a technology space, technology aspect is definitely Uber. Uber has two apps, one that is given to all of us as user and one that is given to all the drivers. The app that is there with the drivers, it has a very special feature. It can actually predict where the demand is going to increase in next couple of hours. They'll create the heat map of on top of a map based on that and ask the driver to move to that location immediately, right? Now, how is Uber doing those prediction based on the machine learning algorithm, which is a good value add for everyone? We get a cab where we want, and the cab owners get the best price at the and more number of customers as well. E-commerce, as I told you earlier, the major use case is recommendation engine, but that's not it. For example, in case of Big Basket, Big Basket deals with perishable items. Now, the problem with perishable item is that its shelf life is items of shelf life of those perishable items is very small. If the item is not there in the store or warehouse at the right time, even if there is a delay in 15 minutes, it means huge loss to business. And if you keep those items in store for a long enough period, it leads to huge amount of wastage. So creating the right predictable model across the supply chain is one of the critical problems. And that's where Big Basket is also using machine learning algorithms, right? Banking sector sits on huge volume of data. I don't think any one of you will have any question on that. More importantly, all the data that is available with banks, most of it is in a very, very structured format. So typically the work that was done manually, like identifying money laundering frauds or fraud detection in general, now is being done using machine learning algorithms, right? And Axis Bank, for example, have created a whole innovation lab based out of Bangalore, wherein they've actually given all these problems to various group of entrepreneurs, and they are the one who's picking up these problems and getting an access to the data and working on the same. Insurance sector again sits on huge volume of data, right? For example, Max Life Insurance, since the data is available, I'm sure a lot of you would have guessed they would be using it to decide which policy, which of their products to upsell to whom, which of their customers are about to churn out so that they can give the right offer to them. For the risk detection also, where is the risk factor more or less in terms of the people taking their policies. They are also using it to recruit agents. So for HR purpose also, if there is a new agent that applies in Max Life Insurance, all those data is given to actually a machine learning program, and the machine learning program decides whether the agent will be able to perform or not, right? That's because of the huge amount of data they have in that category. Even at government level, the opportunity is that they have a huge volume of data and they can arrange data from any sources they want to, right? So from that perspective, there's good work that is happening at the government level also. For example, the last Andhra Pradesh government, they have actually created a CM dashboard, which were actually monitoring all the departments on one dashboard. For example, how many streetlights are currently functional in a state is actually monitored there. How are patrolling vehicles behaving on highways? So they have deployed the camera drones on the highways, which used to collect all the data from there, and that data has been given to the machine learning program, and that will be able to detect whether the patrolling vehicles are doing their job or not. Even the weather monitoring for agriculture purpose. So lot of things. What you would notice is wherever there is a data, machine learning, data science is coming up, right? To sum it up, I would like to show all of you a video. This video is of a tool called Google Duplex, which was introduced by Sundar Pichai a couple of years back. It is yet to come to India. Google Duplex can behave exactly like humans on call. This will give you an idea where we are heading towards in future. So let's just quickly watch this video and then we'll move the conversation on.
So let's go back to this example. Let's say you want to ask Google to make you a haircut appointment on Tuesday between 10 and noon. What happens is the Google Assistant makes the call seamlessly in the background for you. So what you're going to hear is the Google Assistant actually calling a real salon to schedule the appointment for you. Let's listen.
How can I help you? Hi, I'm calling to book a women's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd. Sure, give me 1 second. Sure, what time are you looking for around? At 12 p.m. We do not have a 12 p.m. available. The closest we have to that is a 1:15. Do you have anything between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m.? Depending on what service she would like. What service is she looking for? Just a woman's haircut for now? Okay, we have at 10 o'clock. 10 a.m. is fine. Okay, what's your first name? Her first name is Lisa. Okay, perfect. So I will see Lisa at 10 o'clock on May 3rd. Okay, great. Thanks, great. Have a great day. Bye.
Great. So I hope that gives you an idea in terms of what kind of jobs are going to stay and what kind of jobs are going to go away in the market. But to make something like this work for all use cases, for all domains, for all languages, across geographies, a lot of data models needs to be created, right? And a lot of technology work needs to come forth from speech recognition to natural language processing. So a lot of work in the technology area needs to happen, right? So that's where I personally see most of the job profiles are going to go. So, till this point, my overall objective was to give you a sense in terms of what is this space all about and what is happening in the industry, where we are heading towards. The next question that comes in mind, fine, this looks interesting and I really want to build my career in this area, but how should I approach, right? And all of you may be from different industries, different level of experience. Is it for you or not? I'm sure you would have a lot of questions in that regard. So, but before I talk about that in detail, whether it is for you or not, and which approach you should take, what learning path would be relevant for you, it's very important that you should be aware of the entire technology landscape. So let me just talk about that now. And I'll possibly give you a view more from a historic perspective so that you know why these technologies are there at the first place. So if you look at historically, the kind of people who were supposed to work on data were all statisticians. Any problem related to data, give it to statistician. The first tool that was ever created for statistician was SAS, right? And it was created in 1960s. By the way, SAS is still being used, right? And the problem is that it's expensive. It has its proprietary technologies, because of which you would see SAS getting deployed only in larger organizations in BFSI sector, biotech sector, pharma sector. So these large companies wants to focus on the statistical modeling and they don't want to use the open source technologies. They purchase the license of SAS. But to work on SAS, you do not need any programming language knowledge. Right? You can use the functions of SAS to do your analysis. You definitely need to be good with statistics, but just the functional knowledge of SAS is good enough for you to start working in this area. So if that's something your focus area, you belong to those industries, SAS is already there in the companies that you're working in. So that's a area that you should start exploring. Now, while people were using SAS, everybody wants to do some basic stuff with data. There was no tool that was available earlier. Everything, only tool that we have at that time was possibly calculator. The first tool that was ever created to support people in the data space is Excel. And since that time, Excel has evolved a lot. Right? So it's not just a simple basic Excel anymore. The whole detailed data analytics library is now implemented within Excel. I would say in the industry right now, Excel is the most used tool from the data perspective. So all the job profiles related to business intelligence or business analysis for various functional roles like business analyst for HR, for finance, for sales, marketing, most of them are using Excel. If you data side, the data that you have to work on is in the structured format and it's not really very huge, Excel does the job. Right, so that's the place that you need to start approaching. Most of the work in the industry is currently happening on Excel. Right now, while people were working in Excel, they need a little more flexibility. They want to create some new models, and that is when R came into existence. R is a programming language. It is developed for statistician by statistician, right? So if I would say till about 4 to 5 years back, most of the data professionals who are getting into this space or the existing data professionals, everybody wants to jump to R. Everybody was learning R. Right? That was the kind of uh, strength that R has acquired. It's an open source programming language, first time which has come up in the space of data, and everybody was jumping onto that. And at that point, the programming community realized the value of it. So they started creating libraries in various programming languages. One of the library that became really popular is known as Panda. Panda is available with Python, and it became so popular that everybody started jumping onto this. And now, since Python community is so strong, they've actually created libraries for data visualization, multiple libraries for that, for machine learning, for deep learning, and it is evolving on daily basis. A lot more new functionalities, new functions are coming in. So because of that, it has become so extensive that now everybody in the industry who is working in data is jumping onto Python. So if you're new and you want to take down the programming route, the way to start is start learning Python and all the libraries for data professionals available in Python. That's an approach, right? While actually people are working on the data problem using Python, there's another change that has happened. The complexity of data is suddenly moving up. The type of data, it's no more just textual data or number data, it's image, videos, audio files, and even the volume of data is suddenly increased. So think about it in this way that suppose you're a builder and you're very good at building 2-story houses, and suddenly somebody give you a contract to build a 100-story apartment, right? Now fundamentally you have to do the same thing, but can you use the same level of planning, same tools? Absolutely not, right? You need a different tool, different framework to think about, different level of programming, and that has given birth to a world of big data analytics, right? New frameworks like Apache Spark was created, new programming languages like Scala, new libraries in existing programming language, R, Python, Java that were created. But I would say the approach is start with Python, and then based on the kind of problems you're working on, you can adopt the appropriate technologies and framework in the big data space, right? So first of all, you really need to be good with all the basics. That's more important. And for most of you, this would be sufficient because not much work is happening currently in the big data space. Most of the work in the data space is happening over here, right? So now to suggest you exactly which path you should take, I need to have a little more inside view of what you're doing currently. So I've just posted this poll on your screen. Everybody please respond to this, and then I'll share the results with all of you also. I want to know which category of audience is currently present, what best describes you academically and professionally. If you're already working somewhere, it could be one of the top 3 categories. If you're working somewhere in anything to do with IT, then pick up the option number 1. If you're working somewhere but in the non-IT space, any other functional role, marketing, sales, operation, finance, logistics, HR, pick up the second option. If you're already working in the data space, doing something in data and you want to sort of upskill in yourself, pick up the third option. And if you're a student, you could be a student wherein you're learning something related to programming, then pick up the fourth option. And if you're a student from the non-IT side, pick up the fifth option. Everybody please respond to this poll immediately so that I have an idea. Then I want to talk to each and every category separately. And let's see which category of audience are today present, and then I'll accordingly share further details on the same. So I'll count till 5 and then I'll close it. I can still see a couple of you not completed it. We've got kind of close to 80% responses. I think 3-4 of you have not done it. Everybody please do it quickly. 1, 2, 3. Now a couple of you are left. 4. And so I'm closing the poll now. I'm assuming all of you have done it. Great. So let's move on. So here are the results. Actually, most of you are from the programming side. That's interesting, and a good percentage of you are students. So I would say close to 67%, 70% of you are actually from programming side. And then a good percentage of you are already in the data side also, and a good percentage who are working in other functional role as well, right? And there's nobody who's student but from non-IT side. That's interesting. Great. So I hope that also gives you an idea where you are in the group. So now let me actually talk to each and every category separately. I'll first of all create the broad guidelines in terms of how do you really succeed in this domain in general. So first and foremost, no matter what path you take, no matter which profile, what is your functional role, each one of you need to have good knowledge of statistics. There is no shortcut to that, right? Whether you take the programming route, non-programming route. And what I mean by good knowledge of statistics, it means everything, all the statistical model that data professionals use, starting with the basic descriptive statistics like mean, median, mode to linear regression, time series analysis. You need to be good with all of them. So if you've slept through your statistics classes, don't worry. Across all our courses, we have actually got the statistics very critically embedded in all the programs, right? So there would be a separate course on statistics, and we'll keep working on all these statistical models throughout your training program. across all the training programs. So that's must, right? Now, those of you who are maybe PhD in statistics, or you've done some really good programs in statistics, you're good at statistics, is that all what is needed? Probably not. The second thing you need is you need to pick up some set of tools which are relevant for you. And I can broadly classify tools into two categories. Those of you who are not from the programming side, right? Especially a lot of you, 25% of you are actually from functional role, right? And if you do not want to go down the programming route, you want to perform better in your job, you want to do data crunching and visualization in your existing profile, or you're interested in business analytics or business intelligence related profile, and you want to play with data a lot, all profile people needs to do that, then you should focus on data crunching and data visualization too. Here, what I would recommend is focus on Excel. And when I'm talking about Excel, I'm not talking about basic Excel, I'm talking about advanced Excel. Along with Excel, you should also learn Power BI. So this is actually a deadly combination. So if you go in the industry, Excel and Power BI really works very well, right? That's the combination that most of the organizations also need. Along with that, you can also learn Tableau. Tableau has some really good visualizations. You can build a really good visualization using Tableau. So this would actually give you good enough insights with playing around with data, doing all the data crunching and visualization using data, and also make you ready for the business intelligence and BI and BA related profiles as well, right? Another set of tools that you can focus on is if you're interested in working on AI related problems, right? Or you want to solve statistical problems using programming. Then my suggestion is start with Python. Do not focus on anything, but start with Python. You can pick up R or Python, any one of them, but the whole industry is actually moving towards Python, right? Rather than learning syntax of two languages, focus on one and try to go in depth from basic libraries to pandas to advanced data visualization to machine learning to deep learning. Learn all of them in detail, and that will give you good enough understanding to work on any problem in AI space within using Python. Right? Now, if you know the tool, you know them really well, you know statistics, is that good enough? The third thing you really need to focus on is you need to build industry exposure. You need to build domain expertise. But the problem is it takes time to build it, right? And it's very, very critical and important, because suppose you're going in companies like I'll take an example. For example, Naukri, right? And they would say that they only work on textual data. They have a lot of resumes, and that too in very unstructured format. But you would say that I haven't worked on the textual data in the past, right? So then it'll be a problem. Or if you go to a telecom industry and you don't know what is churning as a problem. Or if you go to e-commerce industry and you've never heard of recommendation engine and never build one, right? It's going to be a problem. So building domain expertise is very, very critical. The way we actually help is, what we have done is we have actually created not just one project, but multiple projects, right? And we'll handhold you in all those projects. In all our course, doing one project is mandatory, but you can do as much as 3 and 4 projects also. And if you actually complete all those projects, this will give you an exposure to various set of problems that are going on in the industry. And rest will depend on the kind of companies you will join and the work that you will do over there. And that's how you would actually build up on your domain expertise, right? But all these three things, statistics knowledge, tool knowledge. So those of you who are students, which are like 42% of you, I would say do not do anything else but just focus on Python. You should not do anything else. Even the people who are from the IT side, and if you're okay with staying as a programmer in the programming side, focus on Python. Don't try to do anything else. People who are already working in data, you're upskilling yourself, focus on Python, right? And people who are from other functional role, you can pick both of them, but pick up the programming side only if you have passion for programming, right? People who have never learned Python in the past, don't worry. Python can be learned as a first programming language. People who've been programming in some other language and now want to shift on to Python, that is also possible. So we have kind of a in between. We do some basic work on Python, if you're new to it, before we actually start with your in-depth training in Python space. So we'll take care of that, but you need to have passion for programming. If that's not there, then this will not happen, right? Now, at Digital Vidya, how we can help you in this regard, you can actually learn these things on your own also. There are various courses, self-study courses that are available. We have a couple of instructor-led programs which are there, right? So one of the major program that a lot of people enroll in, it's called Data Science Master Course. So this is for the programming side, right? This course is for 3.5 months. There will be 2 classes every week, 2 classes every week of 3 hours each. We'll start at 10 a.m. in the morning on Saturdays and Sundays, and we'll go up till 1:30 with half an hour break in between. There will be weekly assignments. So every week you'll be spending close to 20 hours on your training, including your assignments. Every assignment will be individually evaluated. And as I told you earlier, we have multiple projects which are part of it. The good part about this course is the curriculum of this course is possibly the most comprehensive curriculum that is available in the industry right now. In fact, recently what we've done is we've shown our curriculum to NASSCOM, and they have certified that our curriculum is suited for every one of their NASSCOM members. So how NASSCOM did that was they actually have about 2,500 odd members, and they have worked with industry experts and all their members to come up with the requirement from a data scientist in the industry. And they have said, after looking at our curriculum, that our curriculum 100% suffice with all the requirements that is there in the industry. Not just that they have certified us, they will be certifying, giving a certificate to everybody who will be completing this course. And that once you complete this course, you'll get the NASSCOM certificate, and that will make you even more relevant for all the NASSCOM partner companies. So this course, 3.5 months course, is available at a price of 40,000 plus GST. The entire detailed curriculum is available on the website. You can check it out. It's including the details of every single assignment and every single project that you would be doing. There's a deep learning project that is also part of this course now, right? And then the another course that we have is Data Analytics Master Course. This is delivered in a very different format. So what we would do is we would actually give you a lot of video lessons. Every week there would be a video lessons to go through, an assignment to work on. We'll evaluate every single assignment, and at the end of the week there will be 1-2 hours of class on Sunday morning, right? So every doubt that you have related to the video, the assignment, you can get it resolved on that video, on that in that Q&A doubt clearing session, right? Typically, you would be able to complete this entire course in 2 months. But if it's taking longer for you, like we'll give you an access to the Q&A sessions till about a year, so you can do it at your own pace. But what I've seen is usually people are able to complete it within 2 to 3 months, right? And since there's a good amount of self-study component in this, we have actually reduced the cost from 19,990 to 12,500. And this course will make you master in advanced Excel, Power BI, and give you an overview knowledge of SQL, which is actually needed for the purpose of this course, right? So that's the 2 courses that we have to offer. Right now, let me do one thing. I'm actually posting this poll on your screen. We have a course in data analytics, which we are, this is, I think, the dates are not mentioned correctly. It's not July, it's actually, we are starting it at 5th of November. Right, so 5th of November is when the data analytics course and data master course, the next batch, is getting started. So if you're interested in any one of them, then you can pick option 1 or 2. My suggestion is don't take up both the course simultaneously. Learn one and then possibly build your depth, spend more time on that. That'll make more sense. And if you're not sure which of these programs you should take, you can just mention not sure right now, and somebody from our team will call you and give you further suggestions on the same. Also, if you're not sure about these dates, the 5th of November is not that suits you, you can mention future dates over here, and whenever we are releasing a new batch, we'll send you an email about the dates of the same, and you can register later as well. I would request each and every one of you to please respond to this. Any one of you who have any question related to everything that we have discussed, right? So it's time to have that open Q&A. And any question, any doubt, any personal coaching that you need, just ask your question in the question panel, and I'll respond back quickly. Everybody please respond to this. Which is Excel and BI course? That's Data Analytics Master course, Kasturba. That's Data Analytics Master course, the first option that is mentioned over here. Anybody, any question, any personal advice related to your career you wanted to know, this is the time for the same. I think still there are a couple of you not responded. Please do that also. Nirbhaya, you have a question. Is a graduation must for making a career in data science? Absolutely not. What I've seen is, in fact, you would be amazed. We've been training people from a little more than 3 years now in the data science space. We used to have somebody as a trainer who's not even a graduate and was still in a college, but he has done such an exceptional work in the data space that we actually recruited him as a trainer, and now he's he's moved abroad a year back and working somewhere as a data scientist. But I'm personally aware of a lot of people who not even graduate but have done exceptionally well in the data space. So yes, graduation is not really must. Anybody else? Any other question you have? Okay, Vibha, you have a question that I've been working with UI UX space. Do you suggest me to take up data visualization? Would it help? That's interesting, but to the extent I understand user experience and UI space and data visualization, these two are entirely different worlds, right? While data visualization is more about creating interesting visualizations from the data perspective, UI UX space, it's more of more from the marketing perspective also. So this would help you in terms of if you want to integrate that skill along with UX, right? That you see that there are times that organizations or the projects that you work on, there is an availability of good amount of data, and you want to create some kind of a visualization and integrate it within the kind of projects that we're currently doing, then this would definitely help, right? And I think within the data space, that's the best that is available. You really do not need to move too much on the programming side or on the other aspects of data. So probably learning Tableau, Power BI, this would enhance your existing profile. Does diploma in computer science is sufficient for data science? So that's not sufficient, but that's definitely would add it to your profile. So what I've seen, when you approach some organization, they would see what kind of a knowledge you have in the data space, kind of projects you have done, if you participated in some hackathons, what kind of results you've produced in this. And since you have a computer science engineering degree, that is definitely going to help. But that will not be sufficient, right? Just because you're a computer science graduate, and if you haven't worked or aware of data techniques, it's not going to be so easy unless you're from IITs, and there are organizations who have approached your college, but they're doing it purely for the purpose that they know that they are recruiting freshers, and they have the training program embedded in the induction program. Then it's a different. But if you approach organizations directly, they would definitely help. It would definitely help that if you have some training, in particular in the data space, along with the computer science engineering. You will get the entire recording along with the PPT slides of this presentation over the mail within the next couple of days. Guys, there are still a couple of you not responded. Can everybody please respond to this? Sir, I'm a college dropout and I've I'm unsure about the job opportunities being offered since most companies basic necessity of graduation to even attend the interview. So, Nirbhay, what I would suggest you is, um, I don't know what set of organizations have you approached, but what would work for you is definitely you need to have some patience. Um, Once you complete this course, so if you already know, then it's good. But if you think that you need an instructor level program, then you should do this course. And once the course is complete, you do all the projects. While we recommend one project is must, but you should do all 3, 4 projects. And then you should start participating in hackathons in platforms like Kaggle, right? That will give you good enough exposure in the industry on the same. A lot of companies actually recruit people using these through particularly conducting these hackathons or competitions around the job opportunities that are there also. Um, and that would really enhance your resume further. Now, if you do not have a graduate uh, program degree and you do not have any experience of in the data space, then it's going to be a little tough, right? So that'll make it a little tough, right? So both uh, so the best is that get as much of industry exposure as possible through online platforms and start building learning and have that patience and things would work out, I'm assuming. Sir, I'm a functional role in aerospace industry. What do you suggest that might help? I think, Supriya, what you really need to do is see, do you in aerospace industry talk to people in your industry and see what kind of a problem they are solving using data, what kind of a tools they're using on the same. So I'm not sure, what kind of exposure you have in the aerospace industry, because in terms of the volume of data, it's huge. But if you can get in touch with some of the people in your industry and talk to them, you will get better idea in terms of, what kind of a technology you should build an exposure on to be a data scientist in an aerospace industry. Currently, I'm working as an assistant software developer in a startup company as a web developer for 3 startup. How do I move towards data work related to people's knowledge? So definitely, if you're working as a software developer, assistant software developer, this is going to help you in your move towards data side. And like, it's not that you have 20 years of experience. 3 years of experience is like you're at the right stage. That are the set of people who are actually moving on to the data space. I would say among everybody, you would be possibly more suited since you have an exposure in the programming, and now if you're exposed to Python, that's even better. Now you need to start working on libraries in Python, which is being used by data professionals, and try to learn them in depth. If you can do it on your own, nothing like it. But if you need some support, instructor-led programs like our program definitely helps. And then do as many projects in that regard. And slowly and suddenly you will see that opportunity will start coming your way. As there's still some of you have not responded to this poll, can everybody please complete that? So I'm assuming that I've actually responded to all the questions. If there is any questions which I have not responded, please let me know. Great, guys. In that case, that's it from my side. I think we've already exceeded the session by 6 minutes. Thank you very much. Thanks everyone for taking time out. I hope I've been able to provide some value to you. I think there are a couple of more questions, so let me respond to them. I've learned basic of programming on Python libraries related to Python data science, machine learning, and computer vision libraries. So that's great. What you really need to decide is that sufficient enough? Do you really need a formal training or not? So just try look at our detailed curriculum once again, and based on that, you can decide whether you need a formal training program or not. If that's not the case, you should start, if you really are already good at it, then start participating in various hackathons on platforms like Kaggle and start building your exposure on various industry problems in that. And that will give you good enough insights onto the same. And if you face some struggle in this, then probably you kind of overestimating your existing knowledge. You probably need to go in depth with your existing knowledge first. Okay, so the next question is from Jatin. Jatin, I have a gap of 5 years. Completed BSc, even worked as an app developer for 1.5 years in the industry. I have to quit job due to personal reason. Now I want to re-enter the industry. So, that's again, as I said, you have an exposure in the IT space. That's perfect. But you have to start from the basics, right? So getting into the data space is recommended for you. But since there's a gap of 5 years, you need to have the patience. A lot of industries may not take it in a positive way, may not do that. And so you have to wait till the relevant opportunity comes your way. But from your side, have patience, take on learning, and then start working on multiple projects. And then you will, at some point, you'll become relevant for the industry, and you can then pick up the relevant opportunity for you. Great, guys. So I'm assuming all the questions are now answered. Thank you very much. Thank you for your messages, Supriya, Karan, and everybody else. Thanks a lot. The session is now closed. Thank you very much.